Welcome to the lecture on reviews. This is a massive topic, and it's almost a little bit funny. Chris was talking about the fact that it's funny that I'm the one presenting this because I have certain pretty hard beliefs on reviews, but I'm presenting this to try to help everybody understand all the different values of reviews, even though I tend to go one direction with them and Chris will go another, and each one of you listening to this will go in different directions with reviews. Perfectly fine, but before you know which direction and have a choice, you need to understand the directions you can go with reviews. That's what this is all about. Reviews, it seems to most early writers and careers, reviews seem like a real simple, basic kind of thing that it doesn't take any thought. The reality is that reviews are an enormously deep and very complex topic in all kinds of ways. And so I'm going to try to, in this review, we considered doing this as a full 6-week workshop. We wouldn't even have been able to cover it all then. But the problem is because of the belief system that reviews are simple and easy, I'll bet most of you who signed up for this or are taking it as part of the or getting this as part of the discoverability workshop didn't think that reviews are a very big topic, and so why would you bother? In fact, I think you probably even hesitated signing up for this at even a lecture level. But I'll try to, by the end of this, show you how large this topic is, so at least you can start to understand all the different ramifications of reviews. So let me start with some flat basics here. I mean, this is as basic as it gets, and I have a hunch that some of this basic stuff will even surprise a few of you. And so let's talk about where book reviews are found. We're talking about fiction book reviews here. You can extrapolate this into nonfiction, of course, but the focus here is fiction. Okay, just keep that in mind. Focus is fiction. All right, so the different places that book reviews are found. Some of these are going to be duh, and some of these are going to be, oh really? So keep that in mind. Reader review, and actually this structure, these 5 things that I'm going to give you right now where they're found, is sort of going to be a structure as to the values and different things as we go on down through this lecture. So first place, of course, are reader reviews. Now, you find reader reviews in bookstore sites, like an Amazon or a Barnes & Noble or a Kobo or something, where a reader or consumer of the product, your book, has given an opinion and a feedback. That is a reader review. That's where you find those. And so keep those in mind. Reader reviews are a certain aspect of things. You also, number 2, will find reviews on websites and on blogs and on places like Goodreads, which is a website, of course, and where readers are interacting and giving their opinion about books, and in some cases talking about a book or not talking about a book, or just flat giving their opinion. For example, Chris, once a month, does a recommended reading. She never pans a book. She never gives any kind of like, this is a horrid book. What she does is, and she won't read a horrid book, she'll quit halfway through or a quarter of the way through and say, what's the point and what's the waste of time? But on books that she really thought were valuable and she liked, she does a recommended reading. And those are basically book reviews. Now, you can't send books to Chris and get her to read them. That's not the way it works. Most of the reader reviews are because readers have picked it up, liked it, and decided to spend a minute or two saying, hey, I like this book. The readers out there that find it their duty to pan books, well, they have other troubles in their life. We'll just put it that way, and should be ignored in general. But we'll talk about that a little later in this lecture series. Another place that reviews, and the third place, and another major way that reviews are found are in genre magazines. Now, if you have a story, a novel, say a science fiction novel, and it's reviewed in Asimov's or Analog or one of the other top genre magazines, wow, fantastic advertising for your work. Fantastic advertising, because it's going directly to the type of reader who will read your book. So it's just like win-win. And the genre magazines will talk about the goods and the bads of books because they tend to have a little higher level reviewer working, and the reviewer is getting paid for the reviews. So those are all fine, and you know, and they have a certain value also. The fourth place that you'll find reviews that have pretty amazing value, but in a completely different way than anything we've in the first three, is industry magazines, in publishing magazines. This is something like Publishers Weekly or the library magazines. I can't remember what the names of a couple of those are. And so there's a number of those, and they do book reviews. And if you can get a book reviewed in them, well, what happens is each of those have a specific audience. The library magazines go out to all the librarians. Publishers Weekly is read by all the bookstores, all the brick and mortar bookstores, as well as some of the electronic bookstores. And so, you know, your book is suddenly finding in review form a new audience out there, and that has its goods and its bad sides. But it is a major review source. So that's, and it takes a certain knowledge and level of being a publisher and everything else to actually get into an industry magazine with reviews. Here at WMG, we're in Publishers Weekly. We're getting reviewed by Publishers Weekly all the time, and that is we just are, because we've become a larger publisher. And we've been around a while, and we keep sending it to them, and we follow their rules and everything else. In fact, one fine day here this last fall, one of the major representatives for Publishers Weekly showed up at our door because they wanted to see what kind of operation we had here and what our offices look like, and you know, and because we had 9 employees, and that makes us a mid-range publisher, and with our income, it makes us a mid-range publisher. And so Publishers Weekly was very interested in what we were doing. They wanted to know, you know, what they were promoting at times. Sometimes it takes that level, difficult to get to. The last and fifth final place is local reviews, local newspapers, local journals, local whatever that's around your area as an author. It can be incredibly valuable, and most writers don't even think of them. They just don't even think of, you know, that. It's like, oh, I should send that book, or I should talk to somebody at my local paper that, you know, might have only 30 or 40,000 people reading it and would be interested in reading a local author. But, you know, authors don't think that very often. And so we hit all of the local, up and down the entire Portland, Salem, Eugene, and then, of course, along the coast where we live, we hit all of the local newspapers with every book that we feel is worth having someone spend time, and we sell a lot of copies that way. All right, those are the 5 major where book reviews are found. The 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be back to continue on in this monster topic.